They're still in control of the group, even if it wasn't a great performance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, tournaments are very rarely a bed of roses all the way through. I think Gareth has got unbelievable tournament experience, and I think he'll recognise that they'll get through this group. But it was poor, we're all disappointed. We wanted a lot more from England. The clean sheet is a positive. I think Harry Maguire heading those ones out in the second half and the way in which they defended. But I just sometimes our midfield didn't click tonight. We looked tired at times. I didn't feel as though we're connecting combinations in midfield. Thought their midfield were far better. I was disappointed not to see Foden. I know I mentioned him at half-time, but for me, that talent is huge. I've not seen anything like that. I mean, I know we've got Bellingham, we've got Grealish, we've got others, but for me, Gareth prefers Mount, he prefers Saka, he prefers Sterling at the moment, but for me, if it's Foden not to be in amongst that in a starting 11 is, and to not come off the bench was interesting.
Well, that's the interesting thing, isn't it, Roy? It's not just that he's not in the first 11. In the last two games, Grealish and Rashford have both come on both times, and Foden hasn't come on at all.
Yeah, we were surprised watching it. Obviously, Gareth will have his reasons. Of course, he's the manager, he knows the players better than anybody. But we were all stood watching the game saying, Foden, you'd fully expect Foden to come on with the options. And the subs that did come on didn't really have an impact. I know they done well the other day. But England did look leggy, they looked one-paced, they looked short of ideas, even set pieces. You never felt they had a goal in their locker from that. So a really, actually, terrible performance.
Foden came on against Iran when the game was won, but tonight was crying out for him, wasn't it?
It was simply because we know that Manchester City has to deal with a lot of that low block kind of playing. So he's somebody that's adept at finding space and then 1-2 passes and getting into those areas at Man City where they cut it back. But I think we have to give United States a lot of credit for the way they defended. I thought their midfield were very good. I think the only thing that they lack is a real threat up front. They've got a lot of pace. But from our point of view, obviously the 6-2 is kind of like made us all think, wow, this is... But, it didn't happen. Same with the Euros. We started well, then we didn't play so well against Scotland. I think when you look at Harry Kane's interview, he doesn't seem too fussed about it. He's happy about the point. I am too. But the fact is that they know what to do from here. They know what to do from here. It's not like everybody's expecting us to beat everybody 6-2 in every game. But I think America have to take a lot of credit for the way they played.
I'm torn a little bit, Mark, because I've got huge respect for Gareth and what he's achieved. He's achieved more than any other manager since Sir Ralph Ramsey. But we've got a couple of talents there sat on the bench in Trent Alexander-Arnold and Foden, who, to be fair, in terms of sort of opening up a game, Trent Alexander-Arnold's got some of the best delivery you'll ever see from a full-back. And just down that right-hand side in that second half, I thought when Rashford came on, he had Henderson there and he had Trippier, so he was blocked a little bit from getting the delivery and the sort of combinations that you'd want. I think those two, to be fair, not coming off the bench was a little bit disappointing in the sense that if you're going to try and win the game, they're just the world-class talent.
But I think it's fairly clear why Alexander-Arnold didn't come on from Gareth's point of view.
Yeah, I think he's worried about him giving the goal away. He's worried about him defensively, but I think that... if we're not confident against USA of playing him when we need a goal, we could have obviously had a very comfortable third game where we were actually, to be fair, just could have played the whole of the bench. We've not got that now, which is fine, no problem, no panic here. But I think other nations, Spain, Brazil, France, probably would have Trent Alexander-Arnold and Foden in the starting 11. And I understand it a little bit, having watched Trent Alexander-Arnold defend. But when you see a game like that where we lack creativity, where we can't really create any chances, you think those two players really. Should they be in there?
Guys, thank you very much. It was lovely to hear Righty so positive as ever. I wanted to reflect some of the stuff that was going on in the stadium. So as soon as the full-time whistle went, you might have heard it come through the cameras, but there were a lot of boos. And actually those boos were American fans and England fans. England fans because I think it was a massive missed opportunity for them, they'll feel. But the American fans because at times they probably felt like they should have put that game away and they could have done. Karen, when you were watching it, what was it that really stood out for you in that game? Why do you think that England couldn't win it?
I thought there was an issue in midfield. I thought Declan Rice was sitting and then Jude Bellingham and Mount were too high. And I felt maybe we should have pulled them back. I thought we struggled with the counter-attack, and also, as the guy said in the studio, we couldn't build up. So I felt pulling one midfielder back could have helped us. And then it gave us more freedom and also more structure that when they came on us, we were more protected. But it was very disconnected, I felt. And I felt up front it just didn't feel right. But I think the thing in football is don't get too high, don't get too low. I said earlier, this is game 2 of 7 if you're going to win a World Cup. And it's a process. We learn from it, we move on, and we go on to the Wales game now.
We're just next to the friends and family section where the players have just come out and they're going to see their wives and their girlfriends and their mums and dads and all their kids. And they're very calm. They're just sitting down and taking some time with their family. One thing that I did want to point out, Harry Maguire is sat right in the front row with his wife and his family too. Harry Maguire, who has taken a lot of stick heading into this tournament full stop, hasn't had a lot of game time, hasn't really performed for his team when he's been called on. And now he's being called up for England once again. Gareth has shown his trust in him. He had 8 clearances today. That's double any other player on the pitch. And there were times when England were getting absolutely peppered by corners, and he was the one that stood up. Were you impressed with him today?
I think it was 7 corners. I said earlier on, 30% of goals are scored from set pieces. And yes, we know Harry Maguire is slow. Sometimes he gets his body position not quite there. Didn't get beaten a foot race tonight. But he needed to be there when crosses were coming in, when we were under pressure, when he needed to step up and clear his lines, get the blocks in. He delivered, so I was pleased with that. I do think we need Walker back, Kyle Walker, as quick as possible. I think we saw at times tonight when there was runners, a lot of pace. This is USA and it's nothing to be disrespectful, but if you want to win a World Cup, you might be coming up against a Kylian Mbappe, twice as fast. So we definitely need cover, and I would like to see him come back sooner and feature in this back line for England.
Before the game kicked off, you and I were here pitchside and we were talking about the subs and the impact that they made in the last game against Iran. When we saw the subs come on this time, it did make a bit of an impact, but there was no Phil Foden. And Gareth Southgate's explained he wanted Jack to keep hold of the ball and he wanted the pace from Rashford. Would you have liked to see Phil Foden come on?
We still had more subs. I would have liked us to use that extra sub again and bring him on. He's our most technically gifted player. We don't know, there might be a bigger picture, he might be playing the next game, who's to say? I still felt we could have brought him on, and I said at the start of the show I wanted him to start today, but for whatever reason he didn't, and we have to move on. But I still feel he's our best player. I don't know how he's not in our team, but we have to trust Gareth in the process.
All right, well done Karen. Guys, back to you in the studio.